Welcome to the Lean Out Your Business podcast, a show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs accelerate business growth and simplify success. I'm your host, Krista Grasso, and I've been working with businesses for more than 2 decades to help them lean out and optimize what's working while eliminating anything that's not adding value. So if you are ready to get more time back in your day, more profit in your business, and to do business differently, growing and scaling on your terms, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Lean Out Your Business podcast. This is part 3 of our 4-part series on what it takes to sustainably scale your business. And we've been breaking down the strategy, planning, systems, and team that it takes for simple, sustainable scaling. And in our very first part of this series, we looked at the 4 different layers of your Lean Dream Team. Then in part 2, we looked at the systems that it takes to scale your business, including the 4 different levels of systems. Today, we are going to be diving into planning and how strategic planning really sets you up for success in your business. And in the final part of this series, we're going to be diving into strategy. So you know that big, bold goal that you have for the next quarter or that big revenue target that you're trying to hit in your business. Well, the way that you achieve those is through planning. The reality is that you can't wing your way to sustainable success. You can only get so far in your business without a solid strategic planning practice. And when you want more consistency in your results, when you want more predictability in your results, and you want more confidence that you're going to actually achieve your goals, meet your commitments, and hit your revenue targets, that all comes down to strategic planning. Having the ability to take your vision, to take your goals, to take all of those ideas that you have in your business, and to actually break them down into the concrete steps that it's going to take to get there. I think this is one of the absolute most critical skills that you can develop. Now, some people are naturally wired to think this way. A lot of people aren't. But whether you are an idea generating machine but aren't quite sure how to take those ideas and break them down into the next right thing to do to get there, or whether you are naturally skilled at planning, continuing to hone and develop these skills, I think is truly one of the most beneficial things that you can do for not only your own business, but also for your clients. In your own business, it's going to help you to be able to pivot when you get those curveballs thrown at you out of nowhere, whether it be personally within your world or whether it be something that's going on in the world of which we've had so much of over these past couple of years. It helps you sort through all of those brilliant ideas that you have to know what to actually focus on and what matters most and what's not important right now or at all. And it helps you be able to make those big, bold business moves that you want to with confidence and know that you're going to be able to hit your goals and hit your revenue targets. But beyond being able to do those things in your own business, it allows you to be able to do them for your clients as well. It helps you get your clients better results. It helps your clients have more trust in you, in your business, and in the fact that you're going to actually deliver on the promises that you make. It helps you make sure that you're not overcommitting yourself or your team so that you can follow through on doing what you say you're going to when you say you're going to. And it makes it so you can help your clients get better results no matter what you help them with. You don't have to be helping your clients with planning to have the ability that you know how to plan. You know how to take that big goal that they have, that big outcome or result that they're looking for, and break it down into the actual steps that they need to take in order to get there. And not just the steps that you have in your current programs, but the steps that you're going to be able to share with them when they ask you questions in a group Q&A or in private sessions with you. Having that ability is going to make you their go-to person, the person that they want to work with, the company that they want to work with. Because the reality is a lot of people aren't really that great at it. A lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, are great idea generators, but they're not necessarily great idea implementers. So if you can hone or develop or deepen your skill in these areas, it is going to help you in all facets of your business, from your own to the work that you do for your clients. What I'm going to walk you through today is our lean strategic planning system. Because while planning is important, while strategic planning is important, the reality is that most planning systems that are out there are not really designed for a small business at that multi six to multi seven figure level. There's either very tactical planning systems that are really designed more for personal productivity, and they don't really work well when you get them into a team environment. Or there's these really big strategic planning practices that come out of the multi-billion, multi-million dollar businesses that I've consulted with for years and work really great in that environment, but that are completely overkill for our type of business and our size of business. They end up being far too complex, way too time and resource intensive, and they're a whole lot more restrictive than what a small business needs, where ideas are ever flowing and things are ever changing. So I developed a planning system that I call the Lean Strategic Planning System. And what makes it unique is that it's designed very specifically for that scaling multi-six, multi-seven figure business. And it gives you a balance of structure with flexibility. So you can cut through noise, you can cut through distractions, you can cut through all of the competing priorities and things that pull at your time, and you can achieve your biggest goals and revenue targets and create that scalable, profitable, and sustainably successful business without having to work so much and give up those things that are important to you outside of your business for that next level that you're trying to take your business to. The Lean Strategic Planning System helps you take that big, bold vision that you have and connect it down to the day-to-day execution. It gives you confidence that you're always working on the right thing, right? The right next best thing to be working on, because there's so many different options. Having that clarity of where you should be focused, of what you and your team should be doing is critical. But you also don't want to lock yourself into something without the flexibility and adaptability to be able to respond when things go different than you expect, or when one of those brilliant ideas that you have is actually the right thing to pursue right now and will actually help you amplify and accelerate achieving the goals that you have. When you put really effective strategic planning practices in place, like the Lean Strategic Planning System, it helps you create that ecosystem where success feels inevitable. You move from doing things based on hope and wishes to actually doing things with predictability and confidence in plans. And that is absolutely priceless in business. It lets you consistently achieve the goals that are going to have the biggest impact on your clients and that's going to drive the most profit for your business. Before we dive a little deeper into the Lean Strategic Planning System, I want to address one of the things that you might be thinking right now. And that is, if you're listening and saying, yeah, makes sense, but I have a project manager on my team, or I have an OBM, or I'm just going to hire a project manager or an OBM, so I don't need to focus on strategic planning myself. I want to share with you why you actually want to develop this skill yourself and not rely purely on a project manager or an OBM in order to do so. A PM or an OBM or even a director of operations, really critical roles in your business. If you don't already have that right-hand person and that person who can help you take your vision and take your strategies and actually implement them and help hold people accountable to getting things done so that you actually achieve the projects and initiatives that you commit to in your business, then you absolutely want one of those roles. But that particular person is really focused on the execution. They're focused on making sure that everything actually gets done, that people show up and do what they said they were going to do when they said they were going to do it, that there's communications when things go wrong, right? They're the person who's facilitating the implementation of those things that we're committed to. And that's really important because as the visionary leader of your business, you usually like to stay in the place of strategy and ideation, whereas you don't necessarily always like to oversee, implement, and see something through all the way through finish, as we've talked about in prior episodes. So this person really helps with that. But you still want to understand the strategy. You need to be able to make effective decisions. You need to be able to course correct when needed. You want that visibility into what's going on, who's doing what, and you want to be understanding where people's time and focus are because there are always more opportunities than there are resources available to pursue them. You want to be able to take that vision that you have and you want to be able to say, here's what we're going to focus on. Now, sometimes you're saying that in reaction to a lot of the different ideas that are shared by your team or your PM or your OPM. Other times, you're the one who's simply setting that strategic direction and focus areas, and then enabling your team to go off and figure out how to do it and to oversee and ensure that it gets done. But you need to have that ability yourself to connect your vision and connect your strategy to the execution so you can make decisions and give the direction on what needs to be done. And so that you have that visibility so you can course correct when you need to. If things start to go off plan, if things start to take way longer than you expected, and you have to make the tough decisions on what to continue working on and what to stop or pause for right now. So I want to share an example with you. One of my current clients is a women's network for successful 6 and 7 figure female entrepreneurs. And we've been working pretty closely together to implement the lean strategic planning system into their business. So the way that we approach this with them is my team actually built out the lean strategic planning system in Monday.com. So we set up their actual PM tool for them. We structured it and built the boards out in such a way that it fits with our system. And that's something that we do for our clients as part of our done for you service offerings. It's not something you'll see on our website because it's something that we do through part of our bigger service offerings. Now, the tool is one piece of it, which is great. But what we're also doing with them, and this is really important, and this is part of what we do for lean strategic planning and what I recommend you do in your own business as well. The tool is one piece, but to complement that, you want to have the right planning cadences and meeting structures in place around it. You want that entire planning ecosystem that's actually going to get you results. You don't want to depend too much on a tool or leverage a tool in the place of effective communication and having set meeting and planning cadences on the calendar. So what we always recommend is doing an annual plan so you have clarity throughout the year on how you're going to bring your big, bold vision to life, what you're going to focus on, what your overarching goals and major projects and initiatives are for that year. Then we recommend that you do quarterly planning. So 4 times per year, you get together as a team and you get really clear on how you're going to take that vision that you set for the year, those goals that you establish for the year, and what you're going to laser focus on for that 90 days to really move the needle forward. Then from there, you're going to want to meet monthly to look at how you're going to move forward and progress things towards your 90-day goals. And as you're meeting monthly, you're going to go more granular. And that's where you're going to get into your actual content calendar and marketing campaigns, and not just the back office projects and things that you're going to do behind the scenes, but the things that you're going to do customer facing, market facing, that are actually going to drive leads and convert new clients as well. Now, the team is also typically going to meet per week to align on who's doing what and what the focus areas are on a weekly basis. And there's some other checkpoints and things that we recommend as well. But this entire planning structure is what we're putting in place for this particular company. And it's what we put in place for a lot of our clients. So when you look at what the CEO and founder of that company does, she does not and probably never will be the one to actually facilitate those planning sessions or do the planning herself, but she understands it. She understands how the planning is done. She understands why the planning is done the way that it is. And she's the one who holds the vision and knows what the priorities are. She's the one who communicates those priorities to her team. She's the one who's able to help her team make the decisions about what to focus on. And when they realize, which they did, that they could only get about half as much done as they thought that they could, because like most businesses, when you plan, you tend to plan very optimistically and don't always take capacity into account. And when you get really real about what it's going to take to deliver something, and when you have that transparency and visibility that a planning system like the lean strategic planning system gives you, all of a sudden you start to realize what's actually feasible to do and what's not feasible to do with the current resources and capacity that you have. And so when you have those realizations like they did, she's then able to help the team look at and bring them back to, no, this is where we need to focus because this is our most important goal and priority and focus area for this particular month or this particular 90 days. And so this gives her that visibility and that big picture look into not only what's getting done, but what's not feasible to get done so that she could make the decisions that she needs to expand her team or take different actions so that she's able to accelerate her results or shift her expectations around what's going to get done. So while she's never going to put a project manager hat on and ever try to facilitate any of these planning sessions, being involved in and understanding and being skilled at how to do lean strategic planning, absolutely critical to the success of her business and critical to the success of her and her team. And I wanted to share that example because I think really often what I see when I work with founders or visionary leaders or entrepreneurs who tend to be more on the visionary, creative ideation side of things, which is like 80% of entrepreneurs. They will often delegate planning to somebody on their team or hire somebody for the planning. But in doing so, they sometimes delegate too much and they miss the ability to connect the vision to execution and then can get really frustrated when they have no idea what their team's working on, or when they're paying for a lot of resources, whether they be full-time employees or contractors. And at the end of the day, they're not getting the results that they want, or things seem to be taking a really long time. And it's because they don't have that role in the strategic planning process. It's because they haven't taken the time to strategically look at what are the right things to be focused on, and they don't have that visibility into where things are. So I want to make sure that you really understand strategic planning, and then you can build your team around you to be the ones that are off actually doing the work, executing, implementing, and you find the right people to be your right hand and actually implement and bring your vision to life, ensuring that the right things get done at the right time by the right people. There's a quote that I really love by Morris Chang that says, "Without strategy, execution is aimless. Without execution, strategy is useless." And this is where I think strategic planning has to come together. You need the strategy and the planning pieces combined. When you're just focused on planning itself, it tends to be much more tactical. And this is where you can end up with really, really long to-do lists. This is where you can feel busy all the time, but not necessarily productive or not necessarily moving the needle at the pace that you want to in your business. So you always need to start with that strategy. You need to know where you're going. You need to know why it's important. And you need to make the right decisions around where to focus the precious time, money, and energy that you have in your business. And then from there, once you have that strategy around it, that's where you then get really tactical about, okay, great. And now how are we going to do this? Who's going to do what? When is it all going to happen? And so our lean strategic planning system is based on the 4 pillars of the lean out method itself, which is context, clarity, commitment, and kaizen. And it always starts with context and starts with vision. You want to start with the end in mind and reverse engineer your results. Vision, as I've shared in many episodes prior, to me is one of the single most important things that you want to put in place and gain clarity on in your business. Now, this is something that we're going to be focused on together in our upcoming Reimagine retreat coming up October 11th through 13th in Scottsdale, Arizona. If you have not already gotten your ticket to join us, highly recommend that you do. I would love to spend those 3 days with you, deep diving into your business. And not only starting with that vision and clarity around what that next level looks like for you, what your rich, fulfilled life looks like, but then actually building out the lean strategic plans and roadmaps for how you're going to get there to finish this year really strong and successful and set yourself up for success and scale going into the new year. So if you've not already applied to join us, head over to leanoutmethod.com/reimagine. And one of the other things I've been talking about is our Simplify to Scale Ops Academy program. That's kicking off on September 13th. So when you're listening to this episode, we're already underway with that program. You can still join us. You can join us any point in time, although the sooner you join, the more live calls with me you'll actually get access to. And as a very special bonus, what I've decided to do is those who join me at the retreat are actually getting the Simplify to Scale Ops Academy program as a bonus because the two complement one another. And inside Ops Academy, we actually install the Lean Strategic Planning System into your business. We take that vision, we take that rich, fulfilled life blueprint, and we actually build your entire PM system into your business, everything from a tool perspective down to a planning perspective, down to meeting and communication cadences. So we install the entire thing together inside Ops Academy. So there's two ways to join. You could head over to leanoutmethod.com/scale and join us directly inside Ops Academy, or you could join me in person at the retreat at leanoutmethod.com/reimagine. And I gift you access to Ops Academy to supplement and support and complement what we're going to be doing together at the retreat. So I'd love to see you there if you've not already decided to join us. But within the context pillar, that's where we start with vision. Once you have clarity on vision, you know where you're going long term, you know why it's important to you. From there, you're going to actually break it down into near-term goals. So you have a longer-term vision, you have near-term goals, typically 90 days. And once you have that in place, at that point, you want to move into clarity. And clarity is where you actually build out your plan itself. This is where you get really clear on what needs to happen to make those goals, to make those revenue targets a reality in the next 90 days. You're going to plan at a higher level for a 90-day time period, and then you're going to get more granular each month, each week, each day. And the clarity piece combines team-based planning with individual planning and commitment as well. So each person on your team is clear about what they're doing, but collectively as a company and as a team, there's a lot of clarity around what's most important and what needs to be done when. The next pillar is commitment. And this is going all in and fully committing to that plan, not the how you're going to achieve the plan, but the specific outcomes and objectives that you're going for throughout the quarter. You actually want to remain flexible and adaptive in how you get there. And that's what makes the Lean Strategic Planning System a little bit unique. This is not about pre-planning precisely exactly what you're going to do and leaving no room for flexibility or no room to adapt things based on what you're learning, or if somebody comes up with a better, more innovative way to get the same or better result in less time. You want to have the space to be able to do that. So commitment is all about committing to your outcomes, remaining flexible in how you're going to get there, and committing to keep going when you run into challenges, when the mindset gremlins come up and you start to doubt if you can really achieve something. Was that revenue target too big? Can I really hit this goal? Who am I to do this? Is anybody going to, et cetera, et cetera. You want to make the commitment that you're going to keep going, that your team is going to keep going no matter what comes up. But the commitment that you're making is to those outcomes themselves so that you can get there in the best, most aligned way possible. And then finally, kaizen. Kaizen is a lean concept, making small continuous improvements and changes for the better. So this is where you are going to be measuring your results. You are going to look on a regular cadence at your quantitative and qualitative data so you can make decisions about how to move things forward. This is where you look at not just the results that you're getting, but how you're getting those results, right? It's one thing to achieve a goal, but it's a big difference between achieving a goal by working 80 hours a week and burning yourself and your team out and achieving a goal where you did so with a lot of space in your schedule and you leave that quarter feeling really refreshed and recharged and energized about what's coming next instead of downright exhausted and dreading more work coming up in the next quarter. So that's the lean out method, context, clarity, commitment, kaizen. And that is the backbone of and what we do in the lean strategic planning system. Obviously, we go so much deeper into that, whether we're implementing it for you, where, like with the client I shared with you, we actually come in and not only install the system for you or up-level the one that you already have in whatever tool it is that you use. Our tool of choice is always Monday.com, but many of our clients leverage something like an Asana or a ClickUp, and we work with that as well. So there's the tool component of it, but we actually facilitate with your team all of the strategic planning for the year. So we will do your annual planning, your quarterly planning, and your monthly planning, and we'll teach your team how to effectively do weekly planning and daily check-ins. So that's our done for you implementation service where we implement lean strategic planning, and it's really the entire lean business scaling system into your business. Or you can come join us at the retreat and inside Simplify to Scale Ops Academy and implement this into your business yourself. We give your team access inside Ops Academy, so you don't have to be the one doing this. If you've got that PM, if you've got that OBM, if you even just have a really strong VA and you want them to take a lot of this and implement it into the business for you, we give them access so that they can do that, but highly encourage you being involved in our weekly trainings and going through and understanding how to actually do lean strategic planning, because again, you are the one who holds the vision. You are the one who makes the decisions, the different strategies, and the different ways that you are going to bring that vision to life. You want to let your team go forth and use the strategic planning framework to be able to consistently achieve your goals, consistently achieve your revenue targets, and meet the commitments that you make internal within your own business, as well as the commitments that you make for your clients. But you want to have that knowledge and that skill so that you can create that ecosystem for scaling success in your business. So if you have any questions, you can always put time on my calendar at leanoutmethod.com/consult or head over to leanoutmethod.com/reimagine and join us at the retreat and get that instant access to the Simplify to Scale Ops Academy program. Now, this was part 3 of our 4-part series. I hope you've been getting a ton of value out of this in really understanding what it takes for simple, sustainable scaling in your business. In our next session, we're going to dive in and we're going to look at strategy and we're going to tie this all together. So I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Lean Out Your Business podcast. I hope you got a lot of value and actionable insights from today's show and would love if you take a moment to leave us a review. If you have any questions on today's episode or on how to lean out your business, join us over in our private Facebook community where every week we do live training and Q&A, and I'd love to have you be part of the conversation. Head to leanoutmethod.com/group to join us. And before you go, be sure to subscribe to the show so you're the first to know when we release a new episode. We'll see you next week.